Let me ask you something. Have you ever really thought about what keeps your digital life safe? For like decades, the answer was pretty simple. You built a digital fortress with a password and a firewall. But you know what? That fortress is crumbling. And what's taking its place? Well, it's a completely new way of thinking about security, and it revolves entirely around you. To really get this massive shift, let's kick things off with a story that's way more common than you'd think. It's all about something most of us have just kind of floating around out there in the digital ether: an old, forgotten account. Seriously, think about the last time you left a job. Are you 100% certain that every single one of your accounts was properly deleted? Your email, your access to all those internal systems, everything. We kind of just assume it's all handled, right? But what if it's not? Okay, so let's meet Juan. He worked at a company for years, then moved on to a new gig. But in all the hustle of him leaving, one tiny detail got missed. His account was never actually deleted. It just sat there, dormant. Then, a year later, Juan did something we've all probably done. He fell for a phishing email, and a password he'd reused a few times got stolen. And this is where it gets really scary. Because Juan had used a similar password for that old forgotten work account, the attacker now had a master key. Not to Juan's current life, but to his old one. And for the company, the attack looks like it was coming from a valid, trusted account. A digital ghost had just waltzed right in through the front door. One story isn't some one-off thing. In fact, it's the perfect example of why the old security model, the one we've all been relying on for years, is just totally failing in our modern, super connected world. For the longest time, we approached cybersecurity kind of like building a medieval castle. We built a huge, strong wall, that's our firewall, and we had one heavily guarded main gate, that's our username and password. The logic was super simple. If you're inside the walls, you're trusted. If you're outside, you're not. So with this model, all the really important stuff, the servers, the data, the apps, it was all locked away inside that one big rigid perimeter. The password was literally the only thing standing between total safety and complete chaos. This created a really binary all-or-nothing system. Once someone got inside those walls, they were pretty much given complete trust and access to everything. And that right there creates a massive vulnerability. But here's the thing. In our world of remote work, cloud apps, and bringing our own devices, there are no walls anymore. We're working from coffee shops, accessing data from our phones. The whole idea of a single, secure inside is just gone. Now, if an attacker steals just one key, like one's password, they don't just get through the gate, they get the keys to the entire kingdom. Okay, so if the castle is a bust, what's the alternative? Well, it requires a completely new philosophy, one that's known in the industry as zero trust. The entire philosophy boils down to this one really powerful mantra: never trust, always verify. It's a total reversal of the old way. Instead of assuming everyone on the inside is safe, you assume no one is. Not by default. Every single request for access has to be verified every single time. No exceptions. In this new model, the fortress is gone. Poof. Instead of one big wall, security becomes more like a personal bodyguard that's attached to each individual thing. The data, the server, the app, it doesn't matter where it is. The protection follows the asset itself, not the network it happens to be on. So we're moving from this rigid, brittle fortress on the left to this flexible, intelligent web of protection you see on the right. We're not trying to secure a physical network anymore. We're applying a secure policy to everything, everywhere. So how does this actually work in the real world? It's built on 3 core principles. First, verify explicitly. You always confirm who is asking for access, using every bit of data you can get. Second, use least privilege. You only grant the absolute bare minimum access needed to do a job, and not an inch more. And third, and this one is a real mindbender, assume breach. You design your entire system with the assumption that the bad guys are already inside. And this brings us right to the heart of it all. If there are no more walls, then what's the new perimeter? The answer is actually pretty simple. It's you. Your identity is the new perimeter. To really get why, we need to know a key term: the control plane. The easiest way to think about it is like the digital traffic cop for a network. It's the brain that looks at all the requests and decides who gets to go where. I mean, think about it. You've got people on laptops, phones, and tablets accessing apps in the cloud and in the office. What's the one thing that connects all of it? It's not the device. It's not the location. It's the person. Your identity is the only real constant in all that chaos. And that makes your identity the new central hub, the new control plane. Every single request to access a resource, doesn't matter if it's an email, a file, or an app, it all flows through your identity. It's the smart traffic cop that grants or denies access based on those zero trust principles we just talked about. Now, this might all sound a little abstract, but it has a very real impact on your everyday life. It's the reason why the simple act of logging in has changed so much recently. And that's because in this new model, your identity has 4 really crucial jobs to do. First, it has to handle authentication, proving you are who you say you are, which is about way more than just a password now. Next step is authorization. Once the system knows who you are, it has to decide what you're actually allowed to see and do. Then you've got auditing, keeping a secure log of everything that was done. And finally, administration, properly managing your account from the moment it's created all the way to its deletion, which, by the way, is the exact step that was missed in Juan's story. So the next time you're asked for a code from your phone or to use your fingerprint to log into something, you'll know exactly why. That's multi-factor authentication in action. And it's not there to annoy you, I promise. It is a direct application of that first zero trust principle: verify explicitly. The system is just double-checking that you are really you. Ultimately, it all comes back to this one idea. This is the new golden rule for our digital world. It represents this fundamental shift away from a security model that's based on where you are to one that's based entirely on who you are. So I'll just leave you with this thought. In a world that now operates on the assumption that the bad guys are already inside the castle, the most important question in cybersecurity is no longer how do we keep them out? It is simply, how do you prove that you are you?